Most people are paying for 5 different AI tools. I just built my own. This panel right here replaced Submagic in about an hour. Before I go any further, I have to give credit where credit is due. The original idea for this came from my friend Chris. He even sent me the prompt to scaffold the early version of this command center. Our 2 command centers look very different now, but it all started with him. What I built is what I call my modular AI workspace. It's a creative hub. All my chats, all my tools, all live in one place. I can plug new components in or rip them out depending on what I'm actually working on. The interesting part is how I got here. I was paying about $70 a month for SaaS AI tools before this. The reason it was so low is because as I was researching different things that I wanted, I kept realizing I could just build it instead of subscribing for it. A lot of the tools I'd planned to pay for, I never even signed up for. I just built the version I needed first and moved on. Now my current setup has a bunch of different chats that are open at the same time, but I'm usually using about 2 to 5 of them at any point. All of them are Claude Code terminal chats running Opus 4.8, and they're all linked to my Claude Max subscription. Each chat has a loose boundary of what they're actually designed for. I have an orderly chat that handles all of my orderly build work and some research. Then a separate orderly marketing chat I use to build out my marketing engine and do market research. They don't share state, but if I need to inform one about what the other is doing, I can just ask for a prompt that I can copy across. Now doing it this way seems like a lot of work, but it was actually a 10x unlock. When I was working out of one terminal, I kept getting confused. I'd ask it to work on something, send the request, then ask about something completely different because I was trying to multitask. Do that a few times, and now I'm scrolling up and down trying to find where my questions and answers lived. The chat had a harder time distinguishing what I was working on versus what I asked it to do next. The command center fixed all that. I send off one request in one chat, click another tab, read the input there, send off another request, tab back to see the response from the first, and the chat stayed organized, I wasn't confused, and the problem was solved. Now, all of my chats are running Opus 4.8 right now, and I used to be worried about which was using which. I would make sure that some chats had Sonnet, some had Haiku, and some were using Opus. But honestly, I used to worry about that a lot more than I do now. I have the token allotment on Max. I'm paying for the $200 a month subscription, so I just basically power everything through with Opus. It's probably overkill in some cases, but it works for now. Now, I have a section for my image generator, and the image generator is where the right tool for the right job thing actually applies. Originally, Claude suggested it could generate images for me using Pillow. The outputs were subpar at best. I did some research on the best image generators to use, and the research kept pointing at ChatGPT's image API. So I signed up for an OpenAI account, generated a token, and wired it to the command center, and then built my own front end for it. GPT has a UI for image generation already, but I wanted to reduce the number of clicks and tabs, so I built it into my workspace instead. Now the cost reality here, for the quality and size of image I'm typically creating, it's around 7 cents per image. I generate roughly about 40 images per long form video. That's about $3 per video, which is totally worth it for me. Okay, this is the one I get most fired up about. I needed captioning for my videos. The research showed a large number of people, especially with short form content, watch with the sound off and therefore need captions. If I wanted to actually reach people, I needed bulk captioning that didn't suck. Submagic was the #1 suggestion, so I gave it a shot. It honestly was great. It worked really well, but it was $45 a month, and I didn't want to pay $45 a month if I didn't have to. Now, a little bit of background. I currently have a 4070 Super GPU in my desktop. I do a lot of freelance video editing already, so I wanted to see if I could put my own hardware to work instead of paying someone else for it. So I worked with my chat. I described what I was using already. Submagic, plus a lot of Descript history for my freelance work. I said I was happy with how Submagic worked, I just wanted to see if I could knock it out all on my own. I didn't need all the bells and whistles, I just needed the transcription, the ability to edit the transcription, and the ability to move and adjust the captions that get burned in. I gave a couple of screenshots, I described what I wanted, and we were off. It took about 4 iterations to get the version that I'm currently using, but the first pass was actually really good. The only things I really changed after that were specific items, certain caption styles, things like that. Since then, I've added batching so I can do multiple videos at once. I also added a viewer for past projects so I can revisit jobs, but honestly that's about it. Now before I canceled Submagic, I kept it running for another week or so. I ran all of my personal shorts through both, made sure mine produced exactly what I needed, which it did, and I tested before I canceled. And this is how I kind of view AI in general. You don't need to replace everything. You don't need custom build-outs for every application. If your company is paying for it, if there's a licensing reason, if Submagic or other tool already has access to licensed media that you need, yeah, just use it. There's nothing wrong with any of those competitors that are out there. But for my use case, it was all personal. I didn't need any bells and whistles. Building it myself was the right call. Now for me, this paid off immediately because it runs off my CPU and my GPU. The only thing I really have to pay for is the electricity. As soon as I started putting batches of videos through it, I knew I was onto something. Now I want to be honest about what I didn't replace that's still in my command center. Cloud Code is the big one. I still pay for it. I use it daily. It's too important to my workflow right now to replace the cloud portion. And if you ask why, it's just because it's fast, it's accurate, and it's always improving. It's also relatively cheap. Eventually, maybe in a year or two, when the equivalent local model is running something like Opus 4.8 on local hardware, I might switch. The next computer I plan to buy is a souped-up Mac that can run a lot of those top-end models locally. But until then, I have no problem paying for cloud. Anthropic has done a great job in my opinion, and the models keep getting better and better. Now there is something that I'm still paying for that I haven't really been able to replicate just yet, and I've tried a couple times. It's called Gamma. It's basically a deck building tool that's AI powered. I tried to replicate it. I didn't put a ton of time into it, to be honest, but Gamma's just better than what I could get going. It's $19 a month. It generates a lot of my marketing really quickly. You don't have to build custom solutions to every problem immediately. Eventually, I might work on this and build something else out, but for now, I like what Gamma outputs, and it's cheap enough not really to matter for me. And honestly, the way I think about it is pretty simple. It's just ROI. It's return on investment always. If something's relatively simple, give it a shot and see what you can create. I've seen builds where people try to duplicate something like DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro. They build an entire video editing ecosystem on their own, and that's fine if you want to spend 10 plus hours fine-tuning it. And it's probably not going to be as good as any of those products, and it'll be outpaced soon, but go for it. But for me, I'd rather just run DaVinci and pay for it. It's constantly updating. If anything breaks, they usually have a team that's fixing it, and that's worth my money. Utilizing too much of my time to build out a massive system that can do everything removes time from actually building or creating. The thing I need to actually spend time on next, and this is an edge case, is a video editing agent and workflow. I have so much raw and completed video that being able to cut segments automatically would save me a lot of editing time. But I make a lot of editorial choices, and it's honestly a pretty tough balance. That one might be worth building, but I'll let you know. My big upgrade and focus right now is actually my marketing pipeline. I built a marketing manager that handles a lot of data for me and is going to orchestrate a lot of outbound. That's where most of my time is going over the next few weeks because there's a huge potential ROI. The other thing I'm going to work on is my local finance agent. That one's coming. It's going to replace my spreadsheet workflow and the original local that I kind of created in order to help do my taxes. Right now it's fine. I'm recording mileage and time spent and that kind of thing in spreadsheets. But if I can build something that integrates with QuickBooks directly or replaces QuickBooks entirely, I'm totally down for that. By the end of the year, I'm hoping to be in a much different place P&L wise, and so it'll be worth investing in. Now I want to land on something that's pretty specific to this video. The Command Center isn't a product. It's not a course. It's not something I'm selling or trying to push onto anybody, and that's really important. There's a weird thing in the creator economy right now where everyone has to monetize everything. 3 quick side hustles in 2026. 10 ways you can make more money with your hobby. That kind of thing. But you don't need to do that. Just because you have a 3D printer doesn't mean you need to sell things on Etsy. Just because you like to paint and got a few compliments doesn't mean you need to open a studio if you don't want to. The Command Center is the same for me. It's just a productivity tool that I like to use and that helps my workflow. That's why Orderly is such a different product for me. Orderly I knew would be monetized going in because I knew the problems that people in hospitality actually had, and people will pay for problem solving. But I built it for that reason. The Command Center, it was just built for me. Taking your own tooling seriously really comes down to introspection and understanding what you actually need. And again, you don't need the next greatest thing. You don't need to pay for the top model of something just because that's what everyone was saying. I talk about Opus and Claude all the time, but if you just need AI to help you with emails and suggestions, you can use Sonnet and a small monthly plan. You don't need a Ferrari just to go to the grocery store. What you do need to do, and this is the Hormozy line that stuck with me, is identify what you spend most of your time on and what takes most of your attention. If it's consistent and scalable, and AI can assist with it, try to solve that problem. Once you do, take a look at the next thing. Eventually, most of your problems are solved or streamlined, and that's really the game. If you just take one thing from this video, start small, start simple, and specialize from there. My Command Center is entirely different from Chris's, even though it was built on the general scaffolding he gave me. What I use mine for is probably different than what most people would use one for. A photographer would use it differently than I do. A small team manager would use it differently than that. The shape that works for you is the shape that fits your work, not mine, not Chris's. Build the version that solves your problems. If you're already coding, you can probably build versions of half of this in a weekend. The compounding works in your favor. This is where I'm going to ask you to subscribe. There's a lot more building in public coming. Local LLM homebrew if you want to own the model layer. Right model, right job if you want to pick the right one. And the rest of these tools as I build them. See you on the next one.